India's. A picture that is being painted with each and every single passing minute in this COVID crisis. On the left-hand side of your screen, if I could have your attention, viewer, images from Kanpur where a COVID-positive mother was dumped on the road by her children. That's right. And she died just minutes later, gasping for breath. And on the right-hand side of your screen are images of India's richest families taking private jets and getting out of the country before the gates are closed in other countries. Remember, India is on the travel ban of many countries, and India's super rich are using their superpowers, their wealth, their jets to get out of this COVID crisis that's gripping India and head abroad to evade the total mess that India is currently in.
Let's go, Baba.
Those inequities, those huge discrepancies between the rich and the poor could not be in more contrast than in this COVID crisis. Traveling by air is almost unthinkable for most of us now, but India's rich and mighty have fled the ghastly outbreak in record numbers, either in their own super luxury jets or by enlisting or hiring private jets to get out of India in record numbers while they still can.
India is in the grip of the ghastly second COVID wave. Traveling by air is almost unthinkable now. Scary with busy terminals and cramped spaces in commercial airlines. Fewer people and empty terminals. Sounds like music to the ears and far more appealing than ever before. But make no mistake, we are in the middle of a health disaster. The only thing is, some of these flights cost upwards of 72 lakhs, or in some cases a crore, depending on which aircraft you end up choosing. The spectacular imbalances in our country mean that while some gasp for oxygen outside hospitals, several Indians can't really afford to fly out of the country on deluxe jets to evade COVID's death grip.
To compare our business from 1920 to 2021, the market has been raised like approximately around 30 to 40%. We are getting the high demand. The volumes are gone up high around 15 to 20%. So the inquiry volumes and the people using the charter services has been gone up. So 20 and 21, I think it's good for the Indian aviation.
Similar to last year, we are observing an increase in the charter demand, just like the pandemic. There is a heavy demand for promoters and CEOs traveling to countries like UK, Europe. We are seeing an increase in requirement for business jets as well as air ambulances, helicopters too. And we hope and we are very well aware this demand will continue.
India has been put on the red list by many countries. And just before the gates close, India's rich and mighty may have fled the ghastly outbreak, beating the deadline set by these countries. The following countries have either banned travel from India or restricted inbound Indian passengers. A massive barrier that could only be beaten if you have the means for luxury private jets and the cash to get them off the ground quickly. Wealthy Indians have gone away to their homes in Dubai, London, or on their private yachts in Maldives. All of this to escape the outbreak in India and the collapse of healthcare infrastructure. They can fully afford the luxurious exodus, so they're clearly thinking, why not?
People are scared now. The high-profile people, the people who've got money, they're scared now because the numbers are going up. You take, for an example, Mumbai. Mumbai numbers were going up. So people are scared here. People want to have a safe life. So that's why they are choosing UAE, because the volumes of the numbers of COVID are down there. All these is almost a zero. So they say, if we got money, why can't we spend it to our family?
While the travel industry as a whole has seen an unprecedented downfall, the charter jet business has seen a demand uptick close to the tune of 40% versus the pre-pandemic era. And the main reasons include the flexibility, social distancing, empty terminals, COVID safety, flying solo or with family or friends, reduction of risk of exposure as well. 30 lakhs to a crore of rupees may look like a big amount to most of us. But look at it this way. The affluent who fly commercial airlines do so in the first class anyway. Hence, for the entire family, the math adds up.
On the number of passengers, we have got from 6-seater to 14-seater, 13-seater. If you want 6-seater, it will be charged around 25 to 30 lakh rupees UAE, because I'm not talking about one way. See, we charge one way and the return also at the same time. If you want to go to UK, it will cost you around 60 to 70 lakh rupees. If you want to go to Maldives, it will be around not less than 35 to 40 lakh rupees. So we charge both the ways. We don't charge a single way.
The pandemic has changed everything. In this case, it is the approach to private travel that has changed. The safety net of a home in a country overseas is surely a luxury. In times like these, some of them prefer to make use of it. If one can afford it, the buck really stops there. In New Delhi, Shetty Narula for India Today.
And while the super rich have all tried to leave India on their luxury jets in order to evade this enormous crisis, and we're not judging, they've got the resources to do it, it's legal to do it, they can land in other countries before the gates actually close there on the red lines, and therefore they're very entitled to do it. But that's what this is about. There are some of us who are entitled and can do it, while the rest of us have to be here to face this crisis. And meanwhile, for those of us here in the country, there's been a big diplomatic win for India as the COVID cases rise. The US has finally agreed to open export of raw materials that are necessary for India's vaccine production. Several other countries have come out to help India in its time of need. And this is because India helped each and every one of these countries in their time of need last year.
India's vaccine Maitri finally paying off. The world which received medicines and vaccines from India is now returning the favor, chipping in with oxygen and other COVID fighting tools. India's Quad ally, the United States, bowed after facing much flack after initially denying vaccine raw material. It took a call from NSA Ajit Doval to his US counterpart to bring a U-turn in the United States stand. In a major diplomatic victory, President Joe Biden tweeted out a list of measures and support coming India's way. Meanwhile, the first batches of high-capacity container shipment that landed in Delhi were from Singapore and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's Linde company is working with the Adani Group and the Tata Group to provide liquid oxygen and containers. Russia, UAE, Hong Kong, Singapore, Germany, France, Denmark and the European Union are trying to first look into the oxygen shortage being faced by India and are looking to provide oxygen concentrators and increase transportation capabilities.
As a friend, Denmark is a friend, and Denmark companies are a friend of India. So when we heard about this shortage of oxygen, we looked into how we could supply and help and assist India. So now there is a concrete or tangible cooperation between the Indian government and Maersk to assist India in bringing these oxygen tanks to India.
India has pressed the Indian Air Force into action. IAF transport planes are airlifting 23 mobile oxygen generation plants from Germany. Other countries are also stepping up. The UK announced more than 600 pieces of medical equipment in form of COVID-19 assistance to India.
We've been working this weekend to put together a package of support which is now on its way to India, of ventilators and oxygen concentrators to help to save lives right now. This shows that this disease isn't over yet.
Even China and Pakistan are stepping in to help.
印度国内近期疫情形势恶化，表示诚挚慰问。中国政府和中国人民坚定支持印度政府和人民抗击疫情，愿根据印方需求提供支持与帮助，正就此同印方保持沟通。
Pakistan also has offered ventilators and other medical equipments as gesture of solidarity. But there has been no response from New Delhi yet on the offer. With Geeta Mohan in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And just to show you about the contrast, since we are talking about two Indias, the COVID crisis in India is continuing to worsen. It has reported over 3 lakh cases for the 4th consecutive day today. Every single minute, at least 2 people are succumbing to deaths due to COVID-19 in this country. Crematoriums and hospitals are overwhelmed with this second wave surging. India Today's Preeti Chaudhary visited one of Delhi's biggest crematoriums. She sent us this distressing report.
We're at the Simapuri cremation grounds. They've extended the ground here because the number of bodies that are coming in, COVID positive bodies, are far, far more than the capacity of the Simapuri cremation grounds. There are short of body bags. A lot of other NGOs have stepped in to help. But as we speak, there is a waiting. There are people standing there with the bodies of their loved ones, waiting for them to get to cremate the bodies. And there's a huge queue. People have been waiting here for many hours just to get their turn, viewers, just to get their turns to burn, cremate their loved ones. Reporting with camera person Hitesh, Preeti Chaudhary at the Simapuri cremation grounds for India Today. At the Simapuri crematorium grounds, everywhere you look, there are only fires burning, each to their own. This is the parking lot, viewers. This is the crematorium. People practically wheeling in the bodies of their own loved ones, their own wood. This is the parking lot. This now been converted into a crematorium. The capacity of the Simapuri crematorium used to be 11. Since the morning today, 6 a.m. They've already burned over 100 fires, 100 bodies here. Reporting with camera person Hitesh Kumar, Preeti Chaudhary for India Today.
Now, where has the central government failed? Where have the affected states failed? Who is accountable? No other channel will be asking these questions because every other channel cannot. They've got constraints, and that's the reason why India Today is the only channel that can ask all of these questions.
Who is to be held accountable for this second wave and the complete disaster that we're seeing in our country? Number one, the central government. They failed to read the approaching second wave. Somewhere they just failed to see it coming, probably. They gave an impression that the worst is behind us. They celebrated victory too quickly. The central government failed to preempt vaccine shortage as well. That is where the central government has failed the people of this nation. The central government failed to universalize the vaccination too. Number 5, the central government has failed to implement lessons that they learned from the first wave in 2020 for the known possibility of the second surge. The central government should have known this better. The central government also failed to anticipate the dangers of the mutant strains where the affected states ended up failing. Now, let's get you where the affected states were failed. Number 1, the state governments failed to strengthen the health infrastructure, and that is their biggest failure right there. After the first wave, they should have known better. They also failed to anticipate the demand for the oxygen. They just did not see this coming, or probably they knew it and they did not do much about it, but the anticipation of knowing that there would be this much oxygen requirement was absolutely missing. They also chose to dismantle the COVID facilities after the first wave got over. They also failed to create the required amount of plasma banks. Number 5, the state governments also failed on playing vaccine politics. There was just way too much bickering going on as far as vaccine politics is concerned. They, in fact, chose to blame the center, and the center, of course, was blaming the state government. So this is exactly where the central government has failed, and we showed you where the state governments has failed. Now, where the opposition parties failed. The opposition parties ended up playing vaccine politics. They also sparked the vaccine hesitancy. So there were a lot of myths about whether to take the vaccine. There was a lot of questions being raised on the vaccine efficacy as well. They also spread fear. They were spreading fear in the public about the vaccine, and which is where the opposition really failed. Number 4, they conducted mass political rallies, just like the BJP at the center did, or the state governments did in various poll-bound states. Now, where the scientific COVID task force failed, this is also very important. The genome sequencing of mutant variants ended up coming in too late. Number 2, there was no actionable preemptive advice that was given to the government, and if it was definitely not followed by the government. Number 3, there was no contingency plan that was articulated to the government, and that is where the scientific COVID task force ended up failing. Now, where did the public fail? Don't forget, everybody is in this together. The public also had a very large part to play. Indians everywhere ended up leaving their guards down, thinking that the worst is behind us, because that's the perception that was even painted by the central government. Number 2, they scattered discipline on taking the vaccine. Number 3, there was also a lot of fatigue that set in after the first lockdown. This forced violations with a cascading effect.
And now to bring you that image that I brought you right at the beginning of this show, as several parts of the country grapple with oxygen shortage, this heart-wrenching image comes to you from Agra today. The image is from outside the Sarojini Naidu Medical College, where a woman failed in her desperate bid to revive her husband, who was struggling to breathe, so she gave him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. The resident of Vikas Colony in Agra, Renu Singhal, tried breathing air into her husband's mouth in a last-ditch attempt to revive him. This image has gone completely viral, ladies and gentlemen. We won't blur it. We will not censor it. You have to see this, because this is the reality of what is going on. She had brought her husband to the hospital in an auto rickshaw, and after he complained of breathing issues, his condition deteriorated when the two reached the hospital, and the man, Renu's husband, eventually died at the hospital's doorstep. The image of Renu giving her husband mouth-to-mouth resuscitation just before he died is an image that nobody is going to forget anytime soon. Meanwhile, COVID brings out the ugliest side of humanity, doesn't it? A son abandoned his COVID-positive mother on the roadside in Kanpur. The woman who lived with her son Vishal in Kanpur cantonment had complained of breathlessness as her condition deteriorated. Imagine this. Vishal took his mother and dumped her outside his sister's house on the road and then fled from there, not willing to take responsibility for their sick mother. The woman's daughter refused to take her inside the house and left her on the road, as you can see in these images captured by a bystander. It was only later that some local residents had the heart to come to her rescue. Seeing this woman lying by the roadside, local residents admitted her to a local hospital after calling the police. The police took the woman to a hospital, but sadly, tragically, she died during treatment. Her son Vishal has now been booked by the police. A video of the incident, the one that you're looking at right now, has gone viral on social media. But in these times of crisis, the two Indias that we see, while there is heartlessness by families, there are heroes who are stepping up beyond the call of duty. Several who are leading the way with their selfless service. Our next report on COVID heroes who come across as beacons of hope in these gloomy times.
Hopping on their two-wheeler with a bag full of food, they set out every day to deliver food to COVID patients. This group of youngsters from a housing society in Uttar Pradesh's Muzaffarnagar is winning hearts with their efforts in the times of COVID crisis. Not just food, they're also planning to start delivery of oxygen cylinders to COVID patients needing them.
कई लोगों के घरों में जैसे मान ली कोविड पेशेंट हैं, उनके यहाँ खाने बनाने वाले भी असमर्थ हैं, तो उनके लिए हमने ये व्यवस्था पूरे नगर में शुरू करी है। जिनके घर में खाने में असमर्थता है बनाने में, उनके लिए सुबह शाम भोजन की व्यवस्था हमारी तरफ से करी गई है। ये 4 दिन से व्यवस्था शुरू करी है हमने। इसमें 40-50 लोगों को खाना बन रहा है सुबह भी और शाम को।
In Sagar district of Madhya Pradesh, a Muslim group has set an example by helping in cremation of a Hindu man who died of COVID at his home. When no one stepped forward to cremate the man due to fear of infection, committee members from a nearby burial ground came to the rescue. The group of Muslim volunteers slipped into PPE kits and helped transport the body to the cremation ground.
एक हमारे उनके हिंदू समाज के दोस्त हैं उल्लास पालकर महाराष्ट्रियन है उनकी डेथ हो गई थी उनके लिए क्या है उनके परिवार में कोई था नहीं प्रशासन को सूचित करने के बाद हम लोगों ने उनको गाड़ी में पूरी किट पहन के और गाइडलाइन के हिसाब से उनको शमशान घाट पहुंचा दिया है
Similarly, a Sikh group is helping cremate COVID patients in the Delhi NCR region, operating in Delhi and adjoining Haryana. It is engaged in distributing free oxygen concentrators to the needy, at a time when Delhi is witnessing a severe crunch in oxygen supply. In another worst-hit city of Mumbai, a businessman and a vehicle dealer, Ketan Rawal, is arranging vanity vans used by Bollywood stars for cops and health workers on COVID duty. Rawal plans to deploy around 18 vanity vans in several parts of the city, with the aim to bring some ease in the job performed by frontline workers.
कोई भी पेशेंट हो और कोई भी गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल अगर उनको बेड नहीं मिल रहा है बाकी सब फैसिलिटी मिल रही है तो मैं मेरी वैन उनको देने के लिए तैयार हूँ जो एक एक वैन में 3-3 रूम है तो मतलब एक एक हॉस्पिटल को 3-3 4-4 रूम अगर मैं 25 से 30 रूम तक देने के लिए तैयार हूँ मैं अगर पेशेंट की जान बच रही है अगर पेशेंट को ट्रीटमेंट मिल रही है तो मैं मेरी वैन उनके कंपाउंड में या तो हॉस्पिटल के बाहर पार्क करने के लिए तैयार हूँ
When the COVID spread has led to an atmosphere of gloom all around, these COVID heroes come across a beacon of hope. Bureau Report, India Today.
Two Indias, always remember that. And our Bollywood stars, some of whom are still here in India, trying to help out. Not nearly enough. Most of them are just chilling out in their houses. Some of them are starting to help people on social media and on the ground. But many are leaving Mumbai for exotic holidays. From Ranbir Kapoor to Disha Patni, Bollywood stars are vacationing abroad away from the horrible turmoil that's gripping their country. No judging. It's just what it is. Two Indias.
While the country is reeling from a second wave of COVID-19, our Bollywood actors continue to remain in vacation mode, leaving Mumbai for their exotic holidays. Yes, neither the lockdown nor the crumbling infrastructure can stop our actors from letting their hair down and jetting off to this year's favourite holiday destination, which is the Maldives. As shoots have come to a halt once again due to the lockdown, both Ranbir and Alia decided to unwind in this envious island, a destination where the actress had earlier in February spent some quality time with her sister Shaheen Butt and best friend Akanksha Ranjan Kapoor. From posing for pictures in colourful swimsuits to soaking up the sun at the beach, cozy dinner dates to chilling by the pool and even relaxing spas. Alia Bhatt lived it up with her girl gang in her first visit to the Maldives, and probably that's what made her return to the same destination, this time with her beau by her side. Not only Alia, but Disha Patni too has flown back to the Maldives with rumoured beau Tiger Shroff once again. The couple was spotted leaving Mumbai on the 18th of April, and like her first trip to the Maldives in November, the actress this time too has been giving fans glimpses of her vacation. In one of the pictures, Disha can be seen posing by the beach as she soaks up the sun. And in one of the videos, she shared a glimpse of the hotel she was staying at and wrote heaven. She also shared beautiful sun-kissed pictures of herself. After returning from her first visit to the Maldives, Disha has on and off been sharing throwback photographs as well, and one of them was posted in February, which had a caption which read, "Missing the beach and the sun." Tiger Shroff, on the other hand, too had shared several videos and photographs while he was in the Maldives from his first time in November. And it was only in the first week of April that he posted a throwback photograph of himself and wrote, "Did you just call beach?" So yes, both Disha and Tiger are surely water babies, and their love for the beaches is quite evident, courtesy their jaw-dropping pictures from the Maldives. Looks like Sara Ali Khan is making the most of her compulsory break from work due to the COVID crisis.
नमस्ते दर्शकों, जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं बाहर बर्फ पड़ रही है किंतु हमारी माता श्री हमारे साथ गंडोला पर चढ़ रही है.
And after a snowy weekend in Gulmarg with her mother Amrita Singh and brother Ibrahim, Sarah returned to Mumbai to only board a flight to sunny Maldives with her family. Interestingly, this is Sarah's third family trip to the island nation. She first went to the Maldives in January 2020. She revisited the island nation in the beginning of 2021, promptly posting a plethora of stunning pictures from her trip to the paradise. And now this is her third getaway to the same destination. Looks like Janhvi Kapoor is also a fan of the Maldives. The actress spent some quality time with her sister Khushi in America in the month of March, returned to Mumbai, and a few days later headed straight to Bollywood's vacation destination of the year for a holiday with her best friends. Her getaway amidst the pandemic was no less than a dream, and these videos are proof of that. From dancing to taking pictures with her girl gang, posing on the sea-facing resort deck, to taking a dip in the pool, Janhvi shared a string of stunning pictures which would beckon anyone to the Maldives. Madhuri Dixit Nene was also seen making a splash in the first week of April in the Maldives with her husband Dr. Sriram Nene and children Arin and Ryan. The actress constantly treated her fans to several breathtaking photographs from her time in the exotic island country. Diya Mirza, who recently got married to Mumbai-based businessman Vaibhav Reiki, also chose Maldives as a honeymoon cum baby moon destination. The actress shared this serene picture from her March getaway to announce her pregnancy. Diya also shared several other photographs from her beach vacation. And finally, Isha Gupta also recently flew to the Maldives and gave fans one exotic look after another from there. In one of the photographs, the actor is wearing a tropical bikini, while in another picture, Isha wore an orange bodycon dress. Not just that, the actor also called herself the queen of the jungle in this fierce look. So yes, even as the country struggles to subdue a surging pandemic, looks like quarantine and face masks seem to be the last thing on our A-listers' minds. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.